What's going on, fam? Welcome to the Adonime podcast, where we watch anime with the redemptive eyes of a Christian believer. My name is Manny.
And my name is Els. And welcome to another reaction video. And this time of the anime, My Happy Marriage.
So we're going to be sharing our reaction to the first episode of My Happy Marriage. And we're going to share the synopsis real quick. And it goes like this. Miyo Saimori was the unfortunate child of a loveless arranged marriage. After her mother died, her father brought in his lover and her own daughter, Kaya. From then on, Miyo's life was reduced to that of a mere servant. Even worse, while Kaya inherited the family's psychic abilities, Miyo had none. She was truly the daughter with no merit. After years of being treated like dirt, Miyo has learned to keep her head down, hide her pain, and obey every order. So it comes as no surprise that she is arranged to be married to Kiyoka Kudou, a military captain, rumored to be so cruel that he has driven away every one of his potential wives so far. From a painful upbringing to a painful marriage, that's the future that awaits Miyo, or so she thinks. Contrary to her expectations, her new husband is actually kind-hearted. What really awaits Miyo is a blissful, everlasting marriage full of happiness.
They make it sound so nice on the synopsis.
They do make it sound very nice.
I mean, the last part. The first part is part of a soap opera.
Yeah, I mean, just from the title of the anime, I mean, I don't want to say it spoils what happens, but, you know, you can kind of tell where it's going, unless it's just sarcasm, like My Happy Marriage was really the most unhappy marriage, which would be, you know, ironic, but...
Interesting.
Yeah. So, first impressions.
Hey.
What?
Before that, we have something really important to do.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What is the rating?
Yes. Please share with us the rating of the anime.
And the rating of this episode, of this anime.
See, there you go.
It's well, I'm just telling you that sometimes after the first episode, everything changes. That's my apology for this. Apologetic? Apology?
Apology.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, as in sorry.
No.
No.
Well, my apologetic, my defense.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The case is PG-13.
Yeah.
Now, what do you say, Manny? Do you agree with this? Do you disagree?
So far, I agree. I agree with PG-13. I don't see anything crazy in it. I do see that there are very serious topics that are talked about here. Like, you know, the woman feels like she's depressed and, you know, maybe thoughts of she doesn't want to live. Also,
more than depressed, this is just how I've figured it out. Rather than depressed, I think she has no self-worth.
Okay.
She doesn't realize how worth she is.
Yeah.
And for that reason, she underestimates her a lot.
Right, herself, yeah.
Rather than depression, because or this is at least how I picture depression. Like, oh, poor of me. Why is this happening to me? I don't want to live. I don't want to continue. But I don't see her like having those kind of thoughts. On the other hand, It feels like she has assimilated them so bad.
She's gotten to the point of where she's not content, but accepting that accepting the lie that she has no worth.
Resignated. More than accepting, she's resignated.
Yeah.
So when they say, oh, for example, just stupid, go clean something. She's like, she had the right to call me stupid. I am stupid.
Right.
What I mean is, wow, she doesn't have some sort of self-worth. Her value, her family just push her so down that she has no value upon her own eyes.
Yeah, and everything that's been said to her, for her, has become not only a reality, but the truth for her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if to call that depression. I don't think it's depression. I think it's more. I don't even know how that's called. she just underestimates her. I love it. She's traumatized. That I can tell. She's traumatized by her family.
Yeah. So there are those serious topics of very strong feelings and people verbally abusing people.
Because more there is a little bit of a physical abuse, but it's not like as much. I think the biggest damage to her comes from the mental abuse that she has received.
Yeah, definitely mental abuse. So other than that, I don't see anything crazy. We haven't, again, only by the first episode, no sexual scenes, no cleavage, nothing like that. So far, no blood. So I think right now it's just mature topics.
I'm trying to remember, because I think it's a little bit of blood. I don't quite remember.
Maybe there might have been a little bit, but
but not crazy.
Because we would have definitely remembered like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Very vividly. So if there was, it's very little. So nothing too crazy. So,
but the clue word is so far.
I mean,
everything changes on these animes.
Yeah, it's always gonna be like that. So, but so far, I'd say PG-13 is a safe rating.
It's acceptable so far. Yeah. I agree with you. Maybe, I don't know, because it's a romantic anime, so you have a lot of feelings involved. Maybe to the point of being 13 years old, maybe they don't quite understand.
The girl is 13 years old?
No, PG-13.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So maybe a 13-year-old kid wouldn't understand it. But
maybe a 13-year-old girl would be. For the most part, 13-year-old girls tend to be a little bit more mature in that sense.
True.
A little bit more developed. Let's go with that.
But we cannot have a rating for boys and a rating for girls. So let's say that for now it's fair.
yeah, I think it's fair. So first impressions with the anime, the animation on this show, it's really nice.
Yes,
I really enjoyed the animation in the show, with the water, the nature, the characters. It looks really nice.
Yes. And
the music, not only just the intro and the outro, which are good too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we had an outro. I think the intro was at the end.
Yes, the intro was at the end.
Yeah, the intro was at the end, which it was a decent intro.
You're just prophetizing.
Yes.
That the outro will be as good as the intro.
But the music throughout the anime, like during the scenes and stuff like that, there's like a piano, like it's calming, it has that mellow, serious feel to it,
and it felt good.
It's really nice. I really enjoyed how it made me feel, like the music, like it was really nice. And I like the seriousness, the serious vibe to it. Like, this is obviously not a comedy.
Yeah.
This is obviously, it's going to be a romance, but it's not like a rom-com. It's like
a
serious romance. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that switch of pace, at least for us, that all the romantic ones that we've been watching are for the most part just rom-coms, which is great. I love a good rom-com, but I'm curious to see how this serious romantic show is going to turn out to be.
I agree with you. It's the first that we have had in a while, a long while.
Yeah. So, like we spoke about, like, from the beginning, you start to feel sorry for the main character, Miyo. She has this trauma. Nobody likes her. Everybody just hates her and treats her as a servant, as nothing. And except for one person, which is Koji, which is the guy that comes in the beginning and, talks with her and this and that. And it looks like there's something blossoming here between them two.
I'll be honest with you, bro.
You didn't like him.
When I started watching the show, I didn't read the synopsis, because sometimes the synopsis give me preconceived ideas.
Yeah, I don't read the synopsis before watching this.
So I was watching and I was like, that guy is the savior. He's the one that is going to marry her.
Yeah.
Nice, buddy. Because He was really nice, dude. He was really nice.
Yeah.
I really like that character.
Yeah, super friendly, and he wanted
And he
to.
will come and he will have those little details with her. Like, for example, oh, I went today to the city and look what I got you. Candies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really stupid sometimes
Not
with this
stupid,
kind of a... Okay, I'm a hopeless romantic as well.
See, you always talk about me being a hopeless romantic, but you're the exact same.
I am the exact same thing. I
Yeah, so
loved
you
it.
can't say. Yeah.
So when he was being all generous to her, all nice,
and kind and
kind,
loving.
I was like, oh, she really needs a good guy.
yeah, and he.
I mean, she needs Jesus, but she needs a good guy as well.
Well, Jesus is a good guy. But her situation with everything that she's going on, he sees that, right? Koji sees everything that she's going through. He sees how she feels, and you know, he has that impression, and it's very obvious that when she's with him, she feels different. She feels happier. She has a little smile on her face. You know, it looks like they have good conversations, and it's genuine. It's very genuine, and it looks very organic.
And I also liked how he is with her, because he knows her situation and he's trying to protect her.
Yeah, he wants to protect her, and he wants to save her from that horrible situation that she's in. So, yeah, defend her.
100% agree with you, bro. I really liked that character when he showed up. I was like, that's a good boy.
Yeah.
Hopefully this continues.
Yeah, it was a really nice relationship. You know, and
those were
friendship.
some really nice 5 minutes.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna be together, but then
boom,
they twist the knife. Well, they stab and then twist the knife, because just twisting the knife is. Anyways, with this whole situation, they stab you in the back, and Koji, which is the guy, ends up getting arranged to marry Miyo's sister,
Kaya.
Not only arranged to marry someone else, but arranged to her sister. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and you could see.
And she is so horrible.
Bro,
she is so horrible.
I don't like her sister at all.
No.
Because by the moment they said, oh, he's my fiance now, she did it with a ton of boys and with a despective look.
It's like...
Dude, I was like, she's provoking me.
Yeah, it's like she's doing this to rub it in her face.
Yes.
Like the one thing that you wanted, that you could tell that you really wanted, now
I'm gonna take
it
away from you.
And I'm taking it away from you. And it was like, yo, it was insanity. It was insanity. And just to make it clear, Koji has no feelings for the sister. Like, Koji wanted to be with Miyo. It was very, very clear, and he did not want to go through with this. But his father and Miyo's father made the arrangement, and it was heartbreak.
Yes.
And it solidified her sense of self-worthlessness completely. She's like, the one little piece of hope that I had, and it's gone. And then they turn the knife a little more. And she also gets arranged to marry
somebody else.
Yes, somebody else. Kiyoka, not only just a random person, but a person who has a reputation of treating his potential wives terribly, where they run away from him.
That's where I thought I was going to. I said, okay, now this is how it's gonna happen. She's gonna run away from the mean guy, and then Koji's gonna run away from Kaya, and then they're gonna make up a family on the mountains.
You wanted this to be what is it, Juliet and
Romeo and Juliet,
where they just run off together, elope, and live happily ever after. Yeah, and you get that sense of maybe that's where it's going, because goodness gracious, like, you wanted them to be together, and now they're both in this miserable situation, and it's just horrible. And at this point, she is at the very pit, the darkness just consuming her, and she's trying to find contentment in her worthlessness is what she's doing.
Mhm.
Then, she reveals her feelings once she goes to see Kiyoka, this guy that she's now arranged to be married, and she has this expectation that he's going to be a terrible man. And
Especially because if she's your fiance, the minimum you can do is go meet her up wherever the train drops her off or whenever you have to pick her up. No, the guy doesn't even lift a finger for her fiance.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how those rituals and arranges
And customs?
and customs, how they do it, but I don't know.
I don't know. I thought maybe gentleman chivalry was still alive at the moment, at the time. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
she's your soon-to-be wife. The least you can do is go pick her up if you know she doesn't have anything to walk with or
Yeah.
to drive her or whatever.
Yeah. So this is the very end of the episode where she goes to his house and she goes to his office and he's turned around. She can't see his face. And she's, bowing down with respect, towards him and whatnot. And then he turns around, she sees his face, and the last lines of the episode, wow, this man is so beautiful. And I was like, what? I mean, I was like, okay, like, does that mean that she has a hope? Like you could tell, and I believe that they narrated this part, like, or she was narrating this part, like telling her story in some kind of in some way, where she was saying that this is the man that took her breath away, something like that, or
Okay.
this is the man that completely changed her life.
Okay.
And it sounded like she was saying it in a good way,
Okay.
right? So I'm not quite sure what to make of it, where exactly they're going to go with it. Why in the world would he have a reputation of, these women running away from him? Maybe there's some kind of misunderstanding of maybe he just didn't feel connected to them and they felt like he was being rude or something. I don't know. Maybe there's some
Or
kind
maybe
of
he was rude on purpose, but for a good reason.
right, rude on purpose for a good reason.
I mean, even though not, there is no good reason to be rude. But he have his reasons.
His reasons, his way of being or whatever. I'm not sure where they'll go with it, but with the fact that there is the implication, or at least from the synopsis, that there's going to be a happy ending, or at least a happy
happy foreshadow. We'll
happy
say.
foreshadowing. Yeah, we don't know how it's going to end. But, I do hope that this marriage that they're about to have, because it's very clear that this is the man that she's going to marry. I believe that when this show is saying my happy marriage, it's going to be with him. And I think Koji is completely out of the picture at this point. Well, maybe not completely, but you know what I mean. She's not going to marry
My
him.
happy marriage can be a subjective topic in the sense of marriage with whom, because you don't know if he's gonna die or Kaya, or you never know.
Yeah, right. So we don't know.
No, but that will be trying to push the ship with Koji too far.
And it's too much.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the happy marriage is with him.
Yeah, I think so too.
With this guy Kiyoka.
Especially because of the final lines.
Yeah.
Wow, this man is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's like, dude, she saw it and it was a love at first sight.
Yeah, love at first sight.
When I heard that, I was like, nah. In Spanish, we say, ella está tragada. Or some countries say, ella está aficiada.
Yeah.
She's so in love that her first impression was, wow.
Yeah. But I think in some sense, with me hoping that this marriage is going to be a happy one, like a honest, earnestly happy one, a happy marriage with, imperfections, obviously, because no marriage is perfect, but that they can get through it. But that feeling at the end when she says how beautiful he is, for me, trying to apply this to our relationship with God, I feel like it reminds us, or it should remind us of our encounter with the person of Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So I could take it in that sense where, you know, when we ignore all the supposed ways that people who hate Jesus say that he is crazy or that he hates women, doesn't respect women, but when you read the Bible for yourself, you see that this is completely not true. And I feel like that's what could be happening here, where there is a misconception about who this guy is, Kiyoka, and how he truly is. And when she goes and meets him for herself and has a marriage with him, and I'm really hoping that they take it this route, where she has a completely happy marriage with him. And
well, completely will be too hopeless romantic for us.
this is an anime, bro.
Even though, with more reason, we know it's not gonna be 100% happy because
we know
issues are gonna come.
No, we know it's not gonna be 100% perfect. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not completely happy, because you can have your imperfections in a marriage and still be completely happy with your marriage.
But not all the time, because our hearts are deceiving and they change.
Yes, I agree. But
in a general matter,
in a general
lines,
matter where
it could be happy.
Maybe not happiness, but contentment.
Okay.
Find a contentment where you are always content with the person that you are with, because you have your struggles, you have your imperfections, but you get through it together.
Now, talking about this, there is one topic that I wanted to touch, and especially based on her final lines. Wow, this man is beautiful. Do you think it's okay for a believer to feel attracted to the person that he's going to marry? Or in your opinion, that is a thing that will come later on and doesn't necessarily have to be your main concern?
No, I think it's very important to have an attraction to the person that you are going to marry.
But does that attraction have to happen on the first moment that you see her?
Not necessarily, because sometimes some people don't really some people aren't really into looks, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So looks for them aren't all that. They're not that interested in looks. But once they get to know the person and they feel a bond with them and they start feeling an attraction towards them, I feel like, yes, that happens. Not necessarily on first sight, because again, some people are different and they don't, they don't find that attractiveness, that they don't find physical attractiveness that important, if we could say it that way.
They don't find the good looks that important.
Good looks that important.
Because their attraction, they don't get it necessarily from the looks, but from something else.
Right.
The bond that they have, the relationship that they develop, etc.,
right.
etc.
Right. I feel like that, like growing a bond with that person helps the attraction grow. Like help them to see them as beautiful because they're just a beautiful person. Because, whether, you guys have an instant connection, you guys are always having a great time together. You guys can talk about things and you guys just have a beautiful bond. And all of a sudden you start feeling this attraction. Like, we see it in shows and movies all the time. Like somebody that's completely ugly and the other person is completely beautiful or whatever. And then they just have they're always knocking heads, but then they start getting closer and their bond starts getting closer. And all of a sudden, wow,
I think I love her.
Yeah, it's that happens.
Yeah.
So I feel like the attraction shouldn't be based off the looks, but I do feel like
there will be instances in which you can notice that at the first sight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's your definite.
Yeah, it's not definitive. It's not the last word on your attractiveness to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you
or
start...
in your decision.
Right.
Oh, why do you want to marry her? Because she's so cute. No, that's a terrible reason to get married.
Yeah. So that's what I think on that question.
Okay.
So
yeah, no, and I completely agree with you. At least in the sense that the attraction doesn't necessarily need to happen at the first moment.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen later on. Maybe you guys just need some time, and maybe the time will allow you to connect with the other person and to develop that bonding.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what will happen.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm not someone that will say, oh, if you don't like that person, then don't talk to her and just run away.
Right.
Not necessarily. Because that bonding, that love, it can come later on. It will be wise if you don't feel attracted to that person, then to treat her as a friend to initiate with.
Yeah, I think it should start always as a friend. Like that is the first step, getting to friendship.
Absolutely. But at least this is something that I think about as men. When you like a person at the very beginning, there is this thin line between friend and possible lover. And you can end up in the line of the friend zone or the possible lover zone.
Yeah.
If you already know that you like that person and you would like to get to know her better, it will be difficult if you enter into a friend zone, and then it's harder for you to break out of the friend zone.
Yeah.
You have to be friendly and you have to get to know her, and there has to be a time in which you will know her and talk to her as a friend.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be in the friend zone. I don't know if you can understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, have that, like, don't shut the door to the possibility, right? Because it might be possible. Don't be like, oh, is there if that person asks you, like, I don't know, what do you think of the possibility of, in the future, like, being more than friends? And you'd be like, shut it down. Like, no. I'm just gonna think of you as a friend, and that's it, because you want more time. But that's not exactly the way. I don't think that's the way that you should do it. You should be like, let's take it slow. Let's take our time, and let's continue having this friendship and see where that goes, so it goes naturally or whatever. But every situation is different.
Exactly. And in this, us as men, we have to remember we have to take care of the heart of our fellow sisters.
Yes.
She might not be a potential lover for you, maybe, but she will always be your sister in Christ. So you have to treat her, protect her, and take care of her as a fellow sister, as she is a daughter of God, and she deserves all the respect that you will give to any other girl.
Yeah. And another point, now that we're talking about this, is to not be held up on just the looks. Like, oh, this girl, she's like the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, this and that. Oh, she loves Jesus too, like, that's amazing. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the perfect one for you. You have to be wise and not be held up on just the looks and just the fact that she loves Jesus, because there are lots of beautiful girls out there that love Jesus at the same time. So yes, it's important that you have an attraction to that person, and some people more than others, it's very I don't want to say easy, but
they are easier to fall in love.
To not fall in love, to be attracted with the eyes.
Okay.
With the looks. They're all about the looks. But we have to be wise with that. We have to look for, attractiveness is important, but what is their relationship with God? What does a relationship with God look like? What does a relationship with the church look like? What kind of friendship are you guys
cultivating?
Do you guys have a strong bond? Do you feel that connection with that person?
Does that person drives you closer to Jesus, or does she also drives you away from Jesus? That's
Right.
another good question.
Right. And so that kind of thing, those types of things take some time. You have to take your time to get to know that person. What do other people say about that person? What do their close friends say about them? Who are they? Who are the close friends? What are they like? Because sometimes, or I believe, there's a saying that says, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you who you are."
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing. So very important to see all of the aspects of this person. The person, what's her family like? What does her family say about her?
What does her pastor say
What
about
does her
her?
pastor say about her? These are very important questions to ask and consider. Not just be blinded and not hear what everyone else has to say, because you know exactly what you're doing. You know the person you want to be with, and it's her or him, and that's it, because you have a special connection with them that nobody else has. You have to be open to listening to other people's opinion. It's not the definitive decision for you to make, but it is extremely, extremely wise to consider the opinions of everyone else, especially those that know that person better than you for more years, for more intimate moments. Like, that is very important to consider.
Yeah, because it's really important to know how does she solve her issues, her problems, whenever she has problems.
Right. What are her struggles?
Is she a woman
And-
that it's easy to correct in case that you have to point her out to somewhere? And the same thing to the boy. Is he a good boy that is easy to correct? Does he accept his mistakes and he looks for Christ?
Yeah.
Or he's ruthless and he's not easy to correct and whatever he says, it goes.
Yeah. Does that person have issues with pride? Are they pretty humble for the most part? Those are things to consider, because you have to, these are big decisions,
Mm-hmm.
very big decisions.
And differently from many other decisions, marriage is forever. Forever. At least while you live.
Yeah, I was about to say until you die.
So for that reason, hey, no, I'm sorry. Consider it beforehand.
Yeah.
And don't get rushed. That's the worst thing you can do. Because then you don't think straight, and then you could end up with somebody that will stop you from your calling, or who could stop you from serving the Lord. And we don't want that.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of went a little off track for a second with the point I was trying to make. But, like I was saying, when we ignore all the supposed ways that, people who hate Jesus say that he is crazy, or that he hates women, or all the things that they could possibly say about this person that are completely not true, you need to read the Bible for yourself. You need to do your own research on his character from the scriptures, because a lot of times people have this conception of what he's like just because of, maybe you heard it from hypocrites, like hypocritical Christians, and now you think that they represent Christ, but because they're hypocritical, that must mean that Jesus is also hypocritical. Or you have this misconception from other people who don't really know anything about Jesus, and they're saying all these things about him that are completely not true. So, things about his nature, how he values women way more than this culture does, that tries to defend a woman. Jesus is the creator and fountain of the worth of a woman. He has commanded the man to love her and protect her as himself, because why? Because they have worth. The woman has worth. And because of this, a woman can come to Christ and have that experience. And in this case, to try to apply it to the anime, like in the anime, how Mio was in awe of this man's beauty and a happy marriage, right? Which is what I'm hoping for. A woman can come to Christ and be in awe of his beautiful spirit, of his kindness, his tenderness. And that person, Jesus, is real. And he offers that to us, not just the woman, but to the man as well, to us. And Christ gives us worth. He gives us a reason to live, and one that lasts, one that's not settled on sand, but on rock. And he gives us a peace that surpasses all understanding, but we must give him that chance.
When we talk about having worth, we also have to have this into consideration, because the feminist agenda nowadays says, oh, the men and women have the same worth, so they should be able to do the same things. But that is not also what the Bible teaches us. The Bible teaches us, yes, men and women were created equal. They worth the same in front of the eyes of the Lord. But they have different responsibilities, different papers in the home.
Different roles.
And that is also something that we as believers have to defend, and we also have to embrace, and that is something that we also have to teach.
Yeah.
That, yes, we have the same worth, but God gave different responsibilities to the men and different responsibilities to the woman.
Right, which doesn't necessarily mean that one is more worthy than the other.
Exactly. Because there are marriages in which the woman will stay at home. And there is nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mother and taking care of the kids. There will be marriages in which both of them work, but the mother does a part-time because she has to stay with the kids as well. And that doesn't mean that she's less or more, because people could say, but at least she's working, so she's a little bit more. No.
Yeah, no.
She is exactly the same as the mother that stays at home full-time with the kids. Yeah. What is the only difference? That she has to work because they have more need or a different need.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that she's worth more or worth less.
Right.
What makes the woman worth is the Lord Christ.
Yeah.
It's what he says about the woman.
Right.
And the role and the responsibility that Christ gave to the woman, it's precious and special.
Yeah.
And it has a purpose into the family. We cannot dare to say that the role of the man is more important than the one of the woman, because a woman has so much value inside of the home that it can bring the salvation to their children on a different way than the father does. And sometimes mothers have that special connection to teach their kids and also to point them to Christ. It is worth to be a stay-at-home mom. It is awesome to be a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. If I ever have the chance for my wife to stay, and if we agree on that, I would love her to stay with our kids if possible. Because that job that she does over there is beautiful. And it's something that God created her especially to do.
Right. Yeah. So in this case, with understanding and coming to the reality of going past what people say about Jesus, what people who don't know say about Jesus, what even some Christians who call themselves Christians were actually hypocrites say about Jesus and don't really understand who Jesus is. Whoever is listening, I implore you and I encourage you, search the scriptures, read about what he did, read about who he is, and read about what he has said about you specifically. And what better person to give you a sense of worth than the only one who is worthy of all greatness and majesty, the creator of the entire universe. And not only the creator, but he has formed us and knew us before the foundation of the earth. And when we put our faith in this man, Jesus, and we search the scriptures and learn about him, we start to see the full picture. We start to see how beautiful he is and how beautiful our roles as man and woman are, man or woman. And that is what I could take. That is the most important thing I took from this anime, at least from the first episode. It reminded me of that, of the worth that we have in Christ Jesus when we put our faith in him.
100%.
You sound like you're dying there for a second. So yeah.
I personally think that this anime was good on that sense. The only thing that I also would like to add is, if by any reason you've been raised on a family that is abusive, just like Mio's family is,
Mm-hmm.
and you think, oh, maybe I'm not worth enough, then I would like to invite you, encourage you to look at Christ.
Yeah.
Because you are not worth what your family say about you.
Mm-hmm.
You are not worth what your career says about you.
Mm-hmm.
You are not worth what other people think about you.
Mm-hmm.
You are worth what Christ says about you.
Yeah.
And Christ says that you've been justified, that you are holy, that you are loved.
Yeah.
He loves you. And because he loves you, you have more worth than 99% of the creation.
Yeah.
For that reason, you should find your hope, your trust in the Lord. He is the only one that can give you the love that you are desiring. And remember that even if your father and your mother abandons you, he will pick you up in his yoke. He will take care of you. He will protect you. And he will provide for all your needs. So even though, yes, there are circumstances that are difficult, there are families that are even willing to throw away their kids. If that's your case, remember that in Christ you have a bigger and better father and a bigger and better mother. He will teach you how a mother behaves, and he will teach you like a real dad behaves.
Right.
He can show you what a real and functional family is through his church, and he can give you hope for the darkness that you see or that you feel or that you think that you are at.
Yeah.
But he can bring light onto that darkness, and he can make you feel happy, secure, content.
Yeah.
Right now, Mio is trying to find that into a man. You don't have to find it in a man. You have to find it in Christ.
Yeah.
And the Lord will be enough for that. So I encourage you, seek the Lord with all your heart, because he will be the only one that will bring you contentment, and he's the one that will make you feel happy. That's where the true happiness comes from the Lord.
Amen. And Jesus says, if you seek me with all of your heart, you will find me. So when you do, you will find him. And it will be the greatest decision of your entire life.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Yes. So just to wrap it up, from this episode, I was able to relate to that beautiful moment, that beautiful reminder of, our self-worth that we have in Christ, right? And it has me excited for what's to come, what Mio is going to experience in this marriage, what different obstacles will appear for that marriage, because it's arranged and they don't know each other. So it's going to be interesting to see where they take it, how it goes. And I want to see how she grows, how he treats her. And I really do hope they find happiness. And I want them to settle how they got to the point where these rumors about him, pushing away these women, why
did that happen?
Why did that happen? How it happened and all this stuff. And I hope it's for good reasons. But then again, at the end of the day, I want to see some type of redemption. I want to see a redemption for Mio. I want to see a redemption for the man, Kyoka. What's his name, right?
Kyoka, yes.
Kyoka. So, and I really hope that this anime turns out to be a good example for married couples, that we can take a lot of good lessons from it, and with our relationship with Jesus as well.
I have the same hopes, but there is one thing that led me thinking.
What is it, Sir Sebas?
On the synopsis.
Synopsis?
Yes.
What you mean?
When you go back to the synopsis, on the last part, it says, they consider Mio lower because she doesn't have psychic powers.
That wasn't towards the beginning, but yeah.
Okay, well, towards the beginning. I took
Yeah.
it towards the end. I don't know
Even
why.
worse, while Kaya inherited the family's psychic abilities, Mio had none. She was truly the daughter with no merit.
Knowing this, it might have a tiny bit of paganism, sorcery,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So
I mean,
If
it's
you're-
anime, bro. As much as we want to hype it up and have good feelings about it, just from the first episode, it's anime. We have to be
I know,
on our toes.
but for that reason, I have to put this disclaimer always. Be careful, because it
Yeah.
might have a little bit of sorcery and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And if you're sensitive to that stuff,
Yeah, if it comes down to having that stuff, we need to know that we need to reject that stuff.
yes.
Reject the paganism, reject the
So
psychic
be
stuff.
careful from that. But
Yeah.
from the other half, as a historically and romantically story, I think so far seems really good, and I think I might be able to enjoy it. I have to see, because you never know.
'Cause,
Just start with yes, it seems pretty cool, and then you
Yeah.
know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
But let's see how this goes.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. That's it. That's our episode on My Happy Marriage. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you guys next time. God bless. Grace and peace.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of the Adonime podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Adonime Podcast. Until next time, grace and peace.